this is the next snafu in the NFL draft this year. Round 3, pick number 94. The Cleveland Browns select Dillon Gabriel. Dillon Gabriel, the quarterback from Oregon, phenomenal football player. This is a quarterback that we talked about during this process that we have really enjoyed. We really believe in his skill set. We think that he can be a really good NFL football player. Big guy, you like this match of Dillon Gabriel and Kevin Stefanski in the Cleveland Browns?
Well, I never heard his name anywhere on TV, on a radio. I don't think I ever heard his name unless I was saying it, and I don't mean I'm not pumping myself here, but let's see. Played great at Central Florida, played really well at Oklahoma. I don't know why they didn't keep him because I think they had a recruit they had to play. How'd that work out for you, Oklahoma? Yeah. And in Oregon, played great at all these places. And I mean, literally great. He was very productive, very good decision maker. And when he was picked, of course I was surprised. One, because we're waiting for Shedeur Sanders to be drafted. But two, I never heard anything about him the whole offseason. And, listen, you and I talked, and I said my dark horse pick that I want to put, some thought into is Dillon Gabriel. Last year it was Joe Milton. I thought he was a late 2nd-round pick, and he was a 6th-round pick. We'll see how that works out in his career, but I still like him as much as I did then. But Dillon Gabriel, the throwing is, yes, he's not 6'2" or 6'1". I think they finally measure him at, Matt? I got it in my head, 5'11" or 6 foot. But let's see, Tyler Murray, Tua, and Bryce Young, all shorter than him. But for some reason, many things. I think his arm was much stronger than people just didn't look at it. He can make every throw on the field. He has all those other things. He can throw on the run, right or left. He can change his damn arm angles, which that seems to be the number one thing everybody talks about everybody. He can change arm angles. Well, nowadays, if you don't have that, then you're falling behind the race about being a really good quarterback. But so it's all there. And the fact that Cleveland went out there with a contingent and worked him out. And I'm sure when that workout was over, they went, okay, this is really interesting. I'm sure they thought 3rd-round pick late is a good place to get him. I like the pick. And I think everybody's going to be a little surprised when they see him on a pro football field, how much talent he really has.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know why everyone was so hesitant to support Dillon Gabriel. And it's just really interesting, too, that we make it okay for those other quarterbacks that you mentioned, right, that are a little undersized or whatever. But, for Dillon Gabriel, it was just the negative aspects of that. And, I think that Dillon Gabriel, when you see, listen, he can't be the all-time leading passer in college football history and not know what the hell he's doing. And the one thing that I see pop up too is the lack of arm strength and accuracy and processing speed. I don't think any of those things are true at all. I think he processes it extremely well. I think that he has really good arm strength. He's very accurate down the football field. And I think that he is very competitive and a very underrated athlete. Yes. Now, the size, I get it. There's times where on film, yes, he does get bottled up in the pocket. It does overwhelm him. That happens to even guys that are 6'4" sometimes. But as overall just feeling comfortable with the experience of playing the quarterback position, he's got it all, right? Yes. He does. He's got the experience. He's going to be ready to go. And I really honestly wouldn't be shocked if by the end of the year, Dillon Gabriel is the best quarterback that the Cleveland Browns have on their roster. Because I really do think that with his experience, the way that he has played, I do think that he's as ready as NFL ready as anyone else is, as far as the rookies are concerned. For him and Shedeur, I would say he's more NFL ready than Shedeur right now because of the way that he has played and displayed that throughout his college career. So
how can you say that? Oh, wow. Yeah.
Well,
I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah.
Okay? I know. I mean, he played big time football, really at all 3 spots. And you're right. He doesn't process. He can't make this throw. That's people that didn't do any work and watching. And, it's almost like the Bo Nix thing. Oh, he's out there in Oregon. Bo Nix is not that mobile and his arm is not so strong. Oh, yeah. You know what? He got faster and his arm got better during the offseason after his college career. So, I mean, I'm being, again, sarcastic, which I'm pretty good at. But the pocket, when it collapses, you're right. It does it for all quarterbacks, and it does it for the three, Tyler Murray, 2, and Bryce Young, all high first-round picks, that it gets them too. And I would say his arm is better than all three of these guys. It's stronger, it's accurate. And the other thing is, when you watch him, if you do, instead of just going, oh, well, let's throw him to the side, when he's under pressure, he can change his arm he can get it really high and throw over people.
Right.
And again, when I watched his play and then I watched his workout, he had the longest workout in history. I almost couldn't make it through it because he wanted to show everybody for a long time. And he was smoking the football. Yeah. And he threw footballs 60 yards and it went out of the screen. He threw it so high. Just again, show him this is what I can do. And I'm sure that's what Cleveland saw. And this will be interesting. He's going to be under pressure because there's going to be a lot of people already going to knock him when he comes in the game, and the fans in Cleveland, that'll be interesting too. How they're going to treat him compared to Shedeur Sanders. So it's a really interesting situation, one that I wouldn't have put myself into if I was a coach or an owner of that team. But Cleveland, man, they go by different rules, and we'll see how it works.
Yeah, and listen, he's poised in the pocket, tons of experience, 60 career college starts, 179 touchdowns in college football. I would say that the guy knows what he's doing. And I really think with that experience, that's where he has a tremendous advantage too. He's been taught extremely well by Dan Lanning, who is really building a NFL-like program out there in Oregon. Will Stein, who does a really good job of building an offense that helps quarterbacks go through reads and progressions consistently. We saw that with Bo Nix. We see that with Dillon Gabriel. And I think those are going to be the big-time advantages that allow him to adapt to the NFL game. And honestly, he's going to be even better in the NFL game because I think that he's going to be really good in the play-action passing, separating himself from the line of scrimmage, making really good decisions down the football field. And that's something that Kevin Stefanski has been missing out on. Is just that ability to run the football, to be creative in the running game, then to be creative in the play action pass game and take those calculated shots, something that Deshaun Watson was not able to do like he was expected at the position. I really think Dillon Gabriel will be able to do those things at a very high level. So the Cleveland Browns get Dillon Gabriel at 94. And now, round 5, the Browns coming back up on the board, and they select round 5, pick number 144, Shedeur Sanders, who falls all the way from a potential top 10 pick in some mock drafts to 144. Shedeur Sanders gets picked by the Cleveland Browns. Big guy, your thoughts on Shedeur, the Browns, that match, and then overall just that whole quarterback room?
Wow, there's a lot there. How do I start it out? Well, first I'll just say this. Watching TV and I just don't know why people say things, but they blamed him falling in the draft because there was collusion in the NFL. The owners and I just go, nobody cares or they don't get to group together and go, well, we got to not do this or whatever. The owners keep quiet, whatever. Everybody, if your talent is what they want in this, no matter what you hear about them and what you've done, then you take them. So Shedeur Sanders, that was part of it. The interviews, everybody goes crazy. And look, before I get it, which I've said before, falling in the draft. Let's be careful about that always. Every year, be careful. Because one group is judging and throwing it all out there. And then the other group that comes in and judges and puts their information out there to people is the NFL people. The guys that are scouting and still working on staffs in the NFL. And, there's a big disconnect there. What one sees outside the league is this, and what the league sees is something totally different.
Right.
And, please understand that, everybody. And collusion of what? What do you think you think they get together and say, let's all get together here?
Well, no, this is what happened, though. The truth is that he really did some awful interviews, and it came across that way. There's multiple reports now that the interviews went really poorly. He represented himself poorly. His interactions with people left GMs and scouts feeling awkward and uncomfortable because he wasn't actually participating. There was 2 occasions where he walked into an interview. There was a film play of him up there. It was not a good football play. They asked him to explain how the play went and all that kind of stuff, and he refused to participate in that exercise. So that immediately turned off those scouts and general manager with that. Then there was another situation where he was handed essentially like a packet of information where there was things that were in there that were incorrect. And the whole exercise is for the quarterback to be able to see where the incorrections were, to spot them out, and then to point that out to the coaching staff. He did not do that. When it was brought up that that was the exercise, I guess the response to that wasn't all that great either. And once these things, I think, started to happen, this is where, again, the process, unfortunately, this is where he hurt himself. This is where he did not participate fully like a job interview. And that's really, I think, the biggest lesson learned here for Shedeur Sanders, is that even if you think you're the best guy, and even though you think that you've earned the right, you still got to play the game, because it's just part of it. You're a quarterback. We don't really give a damn. You got to be one with us. You got to understand the whole process of it. You got to do it with us. We got to be collaborative in this effort, right? If you're going to be the franchise guy of our football team. And I think, unfortunately, he really turned off a lot of football teams by the way that he carried himself, and by really his decision not to participate actively during this process of the interviews.
Yeah. Listen, again, with all this said, if the talent was overwhelming, they still would have taken him.
Right.
So but when you put it together, that's one of the reasons why he falls to the round he did. And, too, you're right. People sometimes just don't want to deal with this. But let me just say this. I heard all this when they wanted to say something where he wasn't great at, which was not too much, his arm. Oh, his arm is not that strong. I watched him on TV a lot. I listened to the guys talking about him, and I watched it on tape, and it never occurred to me, oh, his arm is not strong enough or whatever. I think he actually has a pretty strong arm. That's just me. He's got long arms. He's built to throw. He's got all the characteristics physically you want to see in a quarterback. And the other one that got me is movement. Well, he's not a very good athlete or this. And that's another thing I would fight against. I think his feet in the pocket, he has that, Matt, which you and I throw with quarterbacks all the time. We talk about, man, pop those feet. And his footwork, at times I'd go, wow, that is really good.
Great.
But and it helped him get out of the pocket. It helped him move in the pocket, which he didn't do enough of. He, when in doubt, he was going to try to escape. So that's all the things that I'd like about him. But the other one is 74% completion percentage. It seemed to be that's the most accurate QB. I don't look at the completion percentages and kids coming out in the draft to see who's the most accurate. I think the film tells me, are you really accurate in what you're doing? Sometimes, and throw the ball away.
Numbers lie sometimes, because you could see someone, he's got 12 sacks, and then you watch, he's got 12 interceptions. You watch the film and you're like, well, damn, really, 8 of these aren't even really his responsibility. They were drops, they were tipped, whatever. So sometimes stats are a little misleading in that sense. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, let me finish here real quick.
Yeah.
168 throws at or behind the line of scrimmage. He completed, 100 screens. I mean, these things are part of the equation. Are we judging and looking at that as part of it? And he had the worst pass protection in history, I guess. I'm exaggerating. The worst pass protection in college football. Well, holding the ball is one thing that does it. Yes, their offensive line wasn't that good, but there's many ways to correct it. So why don't we try to run the ball every now and then? Well, we couldn't run it. Well, you know what? Running is about running and getting a yard, run again and get 2 yards, and let's pick up the third down, because at least we have something that's a little easier. That was really never done when you watched it. 35 sacks on first down plays. That's another one. Unless nobody touches anybody, on first down, first thing you're going to learn in the NFL, please throw the damn thing away, because now we're second and long, and that's going to change quick too. So, I don't like saying negative things about these young players and all that, but I think this is all part of the context that just gets washed away completely. It's, they just couldn't say it enough. The completion percentage, the most accurate. He turned the program around. All these things. I never heard anything about, who they playing against. It's a competition. What's it like? You didn't hear that. So, hey, look, the good thing for Shedeur Sanders is this. It's all over and nobody cares now. And all they're going to care about is how do you look on the field? Mm-hmm. And of course, you and I talked about the attention that they're going to get when they have camp, rookie mini camp, off-season workouts. I mean, there's going to be a story every day about it. And that's just, Cleveland knew that. I think they understand. They understand what's going to come with drafting him and just be ready for it.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing, too, is that the fact that I don't think Kevin Stefanski and Barry drafted him. I think this was a pick by the owner. And listen, that's just the way that it is. And unfortunately, that's the business sometimes the NFL. But, for Shedeur, I had him as a first-round pick. I think that he is a first-round talent at the quarterback position. But it goes to show you the negative aspects of his game, his inability to play the game as far as the interview process, because, hey, that's what it is. You're interviewing for a job opportunity with a company that you want to be a part of. And, with all those things on top of the negatives of his film, I think they got magnified that much more. And that's where I feel like he put himself in a very compromising position. And then, of course, as the process continues to go on later and later, the question was for me, does a team who's very solidified at the quarterback position draft him because they're not worried about it? We have a really good starter. I was even thinking, I was like, did the Eagles go and get like a Shedeur Sanders now? Because they're good. They got Jalen Hurts. So I'm just saying, like, as an example, getting a guy that's like very comfortable in his position. He's paid well. There's no competition. There's no concern whatsoever. So that's where. And then also, too, now that we get later in the process, there's just fewer and fewer teams that are actually looking for a quarterback. And the few teams that were looking for a quarterback already picked one. So who was going to be the one that goes? Cleveland does it. They make that decision. Now, all that being said, you're right. He still has the opportunity to earn it on the field the way that everyone else does. That is a really interesting quarterback room, though. We got Kenny Pickett now, Joe Flaxseed, the ageless wonder, and we got Dillon Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders. But I will say this. I think the Cleveland Browns absolutely crushed the draft. Mason Graham, defensive tackle for Michigan, phenomenal football player. Carson Schwarzenegger, all right, the UCLA linebacker there, very good football player. Quinshawn Judkins, you say it all the time. You need football players that match the identity of your city. Well, Quinshawn is just all quads and shoulders, and he likes hitting people. That's a Cleveland Brown football player. Harold Fannin Jr., very good football player, not a true tight end, but damn good athlete in that slot tight end position to go along with David Njoku, like that matchup as well. And then they got the speed demon, Dylan Sampson, the running back from Tennessee, another really good football player. So they got a little thunder and lightning action there at the running back room. They added depth to the defensive line, toughness with their middle linebacker position, because we don't know what the future holds for Owusu Kuamora, their stud linebacker there. But overall, I think the Cleveland Browns did a really good job in their draft. And, hey, the QB situation, we'll see, as the wise master once said.
Yeah, that's all you can say. So it's, hey, look, we're no different. When they go to OTAs, off-season training activities, is that what it stands for? I should know that. I don't even know. But we're going to get reports out of it, and I'll be just like everybody else. How'd it go? Let me think. Let me see it. Yeah. And I'll watch the interviews. So it makes Cleveland the go-to place for information and controversy and everything else, So, but you know what? I guess so much of it, I listen to people on radio and TV, and then I just hear people saying things that are so negative about all this. I go, oh my God, please don't talk. You really don't have any information or whatever. It's just something you just think it's got to be it, and you say it. It's just, and that's why it's important for like the NFL to talk, coaches to talk, and us, and hopefully we try to tell the truth, because we're trying to educate the fan, because the fan only knows what it hears and sees on TV. And so sometimes I just feel like it's not that we're always right. I'm not saying that, but we're trying to give out information to tell them the truth. And I hope we do that. So, but some of this other crap that's said on TV, man, come on.